Welcome to another draw process number 54, page 54 of First Sun and Sword. We're awfully close to the end here. And in this series, as I always do, I draw a comic book page, share the finished page at the end, and share my thoughts for the week. So let's see what we have today. Page 54, we see clearly now the severed jaw of King Croc. So the camera's going to come around and show that side. Croc keeps pushing Sword toward the water. So we're going to see some shots that show a progression of Sword being pushed toward the water. And it needs to be clear that he's pinned. He wiggles to get free, but he can't. His head is going beneath the water. So some kind of wiggling or straining that he's doing. And then his head goes underwater. I decided to go with the moment his head is being submerged and the splash is occurring. That image will have action in it, and it's kind of a cliffhanger. It seems like a good place to end the page. I'd considered showing his head underwater as the last panel, but then we wouldn't capture that action or that cliffhanger. So it was a matter of taste that I did it that way. And as I'm thumbnailing this, I'm just thinking this out, picturing it in my head and drawing it. So long horizontal panels, wide panels, very narrow to show the progression of images that'll zoom in a bit each time. After the first panel, that visually it's very horizontal, along the horizon, very long line, horizontal line. These following panels have a diagonal line. You can see there where the stone meets the water. That's what that diagonal line is on the second panel. These have a diagonal line, or even an X if you look at the shape of Sword and King Croc and the line. So, variety of gestures, we could call it, like a gesture line that you would use to draw a figure. There's a sort of gesture line to the composition of each panel, and you want some variety and you want them organized in a pretty way. So that's what I'm going for there. And we're on the page. Here we go. I have been doing my sketchbook a lot lately, and growing as an illustrator, feeling myself change, and that's really nice. And I mean, that's basically the only update on me. I'm working on the animation, doing that, wrapping up this book, working on the logo for this book, because I only have, I don't remember, 4 to 6 pages left of the book, and then I want to start working on the cover and the book design and Kickstarter and all that stuff. Though I don't think the Kickstarter is going to happen till the spring, because I want to take my time to do a good job with it. So, yeah, that's where I'm at, and that's the update. And now for some words to you creators out there, you people aspiring to be the practice of your art. I have been noticing as I'm changing, developing as in my draftsmanship or anatomy knowledge and so on, these ways that I feel more attuned and perceptive with my eye and my hand. And I feel this change that's occurring. I see it in some of the pages I did. In the past, I've done comic books, where I might draw it in 1 month and then go many months without drawing another book because I'm coloring the book and so on and preparing and writing another one. And for the past year, I have been studying anatomy, working on illustrating or sketchbook environments and stuff. And I've been drawing a page every week. And then I color and I letter and that stuff, just spread that out each week as well. Not always every week do I color a page. Sometimes I color a few in 1 week. But it doesn't take that long to just do a few. So by spreading it out and doing at least 1 page a week, I'm always drawing and always thumbnailing. I don't thumbnail the whole book ahead of time. So I'm developing a habit and a practice that's consistent. And sometimes it doesn't feel like you are growing. You don't see the growth happening, but now I feel that I see it. Like I was saying, I feel transformed to a degree, that my eye and my hand are different. And when I look at other people's art, I have a different eye for it and for the qualities of it. A more refined taste, like someone that's a wine taster and they can taste more of the notes in it. It was like little drops in the bucket over a long period of time until it, whatever, tips over, whatever, and then it just comes gushing forth, right? So it'll feel like, sometimes it doesn't feel like you're growing much, but you put in the consistency and you hit these thresholds where you're gonna feel that shift and that change all of a sudden. And I feel I see that very clearly now, and it's very inspiring to know that I can do that I can grow. And some of the kind of despair or like nihilism of trying to be an artist, and if you don't know what I mean, I'll try to explain that. Some of that nihilism of if I keep making comics, if I keep drawing, I'm not really going to get better. Like, I don't know what I'm doing with my style or what I'm trying to achieve with it or what it's going to look like someday. So, am I just spinning my wheels? Am I getting nowhere? This is showing me I am getting somewhere. I'm not getting there by knowing the destination exactly, but by practices, routines, discipline, and being very mindful and aware. I add being mindful because it's like that nihilism, that idea that you'll never get where you're trying to get, and you're just going to get lost along the way. There are teachers out there. There are books out there. There are things you can learn that will give you a sense of a footing under you. But I think the most important thing they do for you is they give you a few points of perspective. So kind of like GPS location, you have to have a few satellites to pinpoint a location. What is it, 3 or 4? I guess 4 if you have height. But to pinpoint the location, you need 3 points, I guess, in a 3-dimensional space. I'm just pulling that out of the air. I'm not going to try to visualize it, but these learning things you do, and seeing other artists' perspectives, and playing in their perspective, putting in some discipline, some work to start to be able to see from their perspective, you have a greater awareness and sense of where you are at in space, and where you are blind, your blind spots, where you're flawed, but you also develop a greater instinct. So this nihilism, this worry that you're not going to get anywhere and you don't know what you're doing, it's like being an artist, especially if you're not just imitating someone else but trying to draw forth your own art. It's like you're walking in a forest blindfolded, and you have your senses to feel your way around. And you have the not only your own senses, but what you gather from other people's descriptions, what they teach you. So like people who can see things you can't describe these objects to you, or the lay of the land, or sometimes it's maps that they're giving you that you apply to the space to make your way around. But sometimes they're just teaching you, like when they're describing that you're holding a rock and you're blinded, and you start to learn what a rock is, how you can tell by the feel of it. And so then as you're feeling your way along, you can feel what is rock, from your own instincts, from your own awareness. I think this is important to distinguish, because the point is your own self changes, your own instincts become more clear, more capable. But this is a better analogy than just saying that the teachers give you maps, because if they give you the map, that map could be wrong, and it only describes things in a way they've been described before. It's not giving you something new. So what you want to do as an artist who's going to create their own art is develop your own capacity for navigating. But you can do that through discipline and study and learning from masters and so on. So there's hope that you can improve. And I'm noticing, what I've been experiencing lately, this is a cure to that nihilism, that meaninglessness, or being lost in the woods. Yeah. I think that's a really good point. Even before I had this office, I tried to carve out a space where I can work, that I can leave things set up, ready to go, work on them and then leave them, and then when I come back, they're kind of set up the way I had them. I just keep going. To try to tailor your environment to be more productive, to be more enhancing and creating nutrition for you. Even when it comes to like books I have in my office on display for myself, that would be things that just enrich and enhance. So I've only recently had an office, and I used to work like at the kitchen table or something, and I could make that work. I still had, a place that I put those things, and I would get them out, and I tried to develop these habits and these patterns, and because we're talking about, this discipline to develop, and I think it's useful to distinguish that it's not simply a matter of willpower, that there is such a thing as productive, differences in people, and how what's the word? Not productive, conscientious, productive, industrious. Yeah, that would be like a trait that's you could probably measure, and psychology looks at that. People can be more industrious or not, but it's not simply that people that maintain a practice of making comics and drawing and studying and anatomy and so on, that they have more willpower than the people who don't do it. It's that they have, through luck or their own genius or intelligence, or through force, from teachers and school that forces you to do it. They exist in an environment where what you do is draw. So if I get up and, I've got my office now and my art and stuff is sitting out, when I get up and I feel like doing something, am I going to go to my phone or the TV or whatever, or am I going to go to the office? And what's the thing to do if I have some free time? It's draw. I mean, I'm set up just to do that. So it's the environment that we can tailor. And then it's also the internal environment in a way. It's, you're setting up your environment to reinforce, and what you should be doing. But there's also this intelligence, stroke of luck or from force through school. But there's this way that we take on an identity as an artist or as, an illustrator, a comic book creator. And if you can figure that out, it's like people that quit cigarettes, they just decide one day, that's a common story, they just decide and then never touch a cigarette again. And when I decided to make comics, it was like this moment where I'm like, yeah, I'm going to do this. And now I've been doing it for eight years. Or when you fall in love or something, but there's somehow you transition into a new identity. It presents itself to you in your imagination as this thing you could become, or that you must become, or should, or something, and you're able to envision that. You're able to embrace that that's your identity now, and you're going to do that. If you're a runner, you get up and run, and you're just like, that's what I do now. For a while, I was heavily into jiu-jitsu, and I've had a lot of different hobbies and focuses before, but I could be one of those people that could be considered obsessive, where I get whatever hobby I'm doing, I just get obsessive about. But I think it's more useful to, at least in my case, I don't think it's that destructive, or which obsessive makes it sound destructive. But I think it's useful here to highlight that it's not that it's obsessive. It's that I have this ability to play with my identity, which is maybe an openness trait, but the ability to play with my identity and decide and sort of see and envision and decide and be something else. When I was a child, I would spend lots of time playing pretend. Sometimes with action figures, they would be acting out these long stories. I would stop to go eat, and I just couldn't wait to get back and pick up the story where I left off. Like, this guy's going to betray this guy, Wolverine and Daredevil and G.I. Joe. And I would act out these elaborate stories. But maybe half of the time I was using my own body. I would be fighting pretend. I would have a lightsaber. I would be, I would put myself in the shoes of, now I'm a Jedi. Now I'm a whatever. 80s action hero, but that ability to put yourself in that identity and be that, I think there's something to that. I think, like those moments where I'm like, yep, I'm going to draw comics now. That's what I do now. And what does one do who draws comics? I mean, a comic creator, a professional comic creator, a serious artist, what would they do? Oh, let's play that role. And before you know it, you play that role perfectly, like a child that plays different roles, and then it becomes natural. So if you've been beating yourself up about not having the willpower, it's not. I don't think it's that most of the time. Maybe there's some hope and insight you can find from the things I'm saying here. Because even the beating yourself up about not having the willpower and having the discipline, even that is part of the system, the coping strategies, the way of being that you are stuck in, that is not an artist. A mother, you accept that identity. Now you're a mother of a child. Well, how can I put this? I don't want to be offensive, but there's this way that a mother or a father, a parent, just they're in love with their child, and they do not doubt, I am the parent, and I will forever care for this child. And then they spend the rest of their lives, I'm a father, the rest of their lives working like crazy to keep these kids alive and to play the role of parent. And they don't exactly question, why am I doing this? Is this my role? I mean, we do some, but you get the point. The experience, the identity is, maybe it's in our biology, in our culture, lots of things, but somehow people take that on really strongly and they play that role. Beating yourself up about it is it's where your energy goes. It's a symptom, right? It's another symptom. You think it's a sign that you lack the willpower, but it's actually just another symptom of where you're at that is not where you want to be. And it's possible to find your way in the forest blindfolded. And sometimes that means therapy. And I am a therapist, but sometimes therapy can help with that, to find your way through the forest with someone next to you. So, and I'm a therapist, and if you didn't know that, that definitely influences the way I see things and how I approach art, being an artist, and so on. So, and I'm just a weird philosophical person that has a lot of things to say, that, and I'm not an expert on any of them. I'm just interested, I guess. You'll find your way through the forest. I feel that I am, and I've said it before on here, that feeling that you are, you can almost see who you're going to become as an artist. Like, you get these senses every now and then when things just go just right. They go smoothly. They feel free and fast and flowing, and or we could say the drawing just looks really nice. But there's these moments where we realize, we get that feeling of, I can't see what my art will look like when I'm really good, but I feel like I almost can. I can almost see it. It's right there. It's like there's something I'm doing that my instincts, my, feeling my way through the forest blindly, I'm feeling I'm heading that way. That feeling of approaching a goal is huge, dopamine hit. It's huge motivator. So it's not when we get what we want, but that feeling that we are about to get what we want. And I like to get there. I guess I don't know how to put this. I'm trying to make a case for living in that place in a way as an artist, that because it has to do with feeling your way through the forest blindly. When you get that feel that your power is increasing, that you're in flow, that you're on the cusp of becoming who you're going to be and not who you were. When you get those feelings, they're telling you something, and you can lean into those. You can learn how to follow those, and you'll be running through the forest with high motivation and happiness as you continue to learn that ability. Paying attention and learning how to perceive that, and choosing that. So, yeah, what's right on the edge of for you? I mean, it's a feeling, like I was saying. It's even just drawing and having the feeling that this is a little more how my lines should look, my figures should look, my inking style. Things just, even holding the printed book in your hand, things are getting a little closer, or a little more right, a little more developed. That I'm becoming who I'm gonna be. That I'm taking things and making them real. So maybe that's enough on that. Yeah, I mean, I guess I can add. It takes hard work to bring to make things real. To take an idea and bring it to life. To create a comic book or something. But again, to this forest analogy, development analogy. If all you're doing is working, then you're missing out, I would say. On the the developing yourself as an artist, the excitement, the happiness, the motivation, the getting better. And it's very tempting to do that because comic books takes so much work, and goals can be things we want to produce can be so stretched out over years for some, that it just the work can feel like we just have to give up ourselves to it. And yeah, you don't have to. Like for me, 1 page per week, and I've almost got this 60-page book. It took me over a year. But for some, that's more than you've been able to do before. But for some, that's slow. But it's enough for me. Like I've been developing. I've been getting better. And I'm producing a book. I could have slaved away and finished it, and I've done books this length in 2 months before. Completely finished. And that was cool. There was a time for that when I was younger, perhaps, but I would not. I would hit that finish line and then lose my stamina, my momentum, my discipline. I would get a little lost for a while, and then I'd have to get plugged in again. It would be a roller coaster of periods of, well, even the periods that are high productivity are not high growth because you're working too hard. It's so you're not necessarily growing that much. But you are productive, and then times that you don't know what to do, you don't have routines because you're not living that way. So for long-term growth, I think a bigger frame, looking at a timeline of years and not months or something, and not one comic or something, but a long timeline to develop these habits. And the finished page here it is. Not a lot of words on this page. And there it is. No background above that. This full bleed panel. It's sort of cut out there at the bottom. And there it is. Finished page 54. And we have 55, and then maybe 5 more. Be the practice of your art. Encourage others to do that too. Don't be hard on yourself. See you next week.